Xbox On. Welcome to Xbox On, a podcast with one host about one console, Xbox. I'm said host Jesse DeRosa, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the latest Xbox news for the week of December 18th, 2025, including, as the year comes to a close, let's take a look back on all the biggest news, game releases, and more that defined Xbox in 2025. Welcome to episode 342 of the Xbox On podcast. Always feels weird recording around this time of year because I just recorded like 2-3 nights ago. We're recording late to accommodate the Game Awards. Now we're recording early because I'm going out of town. And there's not really like any news. It's that time of year where after the Game Awards, everything starts to wind down. Media outlets kind of wind down and everything just, people are just getting cozy. They got the hot chocolate. They got the new game releases. They don't want to talk about the news. They want to play the games, and that's okay. In fact, I'm drinking a little hot chocolate right now, so I understand. I understand the appeal. I understand the time of year. You get the lo-fi on the background. Hopefully you're not watching one of the ones with AI artwork. You use a lo-fi girl because that's how you play it safe. No AI, you know what I mean? But anyway, guys, welcome to episode 342. Let's start out with a comment from 360 Bro who says, pretty frustrated that you had hundreds of episodes deep and have only now discovered your podcast. Well, thank you, 360 Bro. Very nice of you to say. Very welcome to Xbox On. We will initiate you. I'll be shipping you a packet of my blood, which you must drink and then show photographic evidence. And then that is how you will begin the initiation process of becoming an Xbox On member. And then 3 months down the road when you go, I tricked him in that photo. I was just drinking ketchup and he thought I was drinking his blood. I will then test you when you least expected by slitting your right wrist, not your left wrist. And just to draw a little bit of blood. You're not going to die here. We're just testing your loyalty. And then we will sample the blood. If it is infused with my blood by that point, by the 3 months point, then you are a true fan. If not, then you will be thrown to the wolves with the rest of the PlayStation fanboys. So thank you for coming. We're excited to have you here. Don't disappoint me. Decoy Doctopus writes in with an update. Correction. How dare you? Few notes. Firstly, you pronounce Larion. You might be right, but I've always heard Larian. Listen, Larian, the fucking Baldur's Gates guys. Do you think tomato? Nah. That's not even going to cut it because at least tomatoes and tomatoes are fucking parts of tomato sauce, which is parts of Italian food, which they have at Olive Garden. So this isn't even close to that. We're talking about the guys that make the game with the naked lizard lady. Do you think I'm going to put any respect on their fucking names by learning whether or not the pronunciation is intended to be Larion versus Larianne? Get the fuck out of here. Wait, come right back, because you got some more of this comment. You said, in Control 2, you don't just play as some guy. You play as Dylan Faden, Jesse's brother. He has superpowers or something in the first game. Yeah, he's an incredibly central figure to the first game. And I just forgot that because I'm stupid. And even though I love Control, I adored that game, I'm not going to sit here and act like I remember that game perfectly, at least from a narrative point, because I sure don't. And even when I did play that game and it was fresh on my mind because I had just beaten it, I still maybe only retained like 40% of what that game was trying to say because I am way too dumb for this game. But yes, that is true. Dylan Faden. Isn't that why Jessie goes into the oldest house in the first place? Is because she's originally looking for her brother or something like that? I don't know. But anyway, yes, you play as her brother in this game. I just think that's such a cool twist. Just to kind of fillet, Control 2 a little bit more in Remedy Entertainment. It's so cool that the sequel to Control isn't just like, it's a sequel to the first game where you play as the same character and you do the same things, but now it's fine-tuned and better. It's like, no. In Control 2, you play as a different character. It's a different type of game. It continues the story. It's so Remedy. It's like, we want to continue that narrative, but we have a new genre and game and character and idea that we want to use to push that game forward. Like, it's exactly what they did with Alan Wake, where Alan Wake 2 and Alan Wake 1 are not the same kind of game. It's just one's a continuation of the other game's story. I think that's such a bold and ballsy move. That's how you know that's the kind of stuff that shows you Remedy is a team that's there because they are passionate and creative and inspired to do the things they do. and not because they're just trying to make a paycheck. Because, you know, like, conventional wisdom would tell you if you make a game and it does well, you don't fuck it up by making the sequel a totally different game. You know, like Bungie wasn't like, oh, they seem to like it when we put Master Chief with an assault rifle in the first person perspective, and then they make the next game like Halo 2. Just kidding, it's Cooking Mama. You know, like this is ballsy the way that Remedy does their games, and I respect the fucking hell out of them. Those beautiful European bastards. I want to kiss Sam Lake on his little Sam booty cheeks, if you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, thank you for that correction. You also said, I think you got the new Tomb Raider games backwards. Legacy is the remake, and Catalyst is the wholly new game. Yes, was it Legacy of Osiris? No, it's Legacy of Atlantis. That is the that is the remake or the reimagining or the reinterpretation or whatever the fuck they called it of the first game. And Catalyst is the one that comes out the following year in 2027 that's being developed by Crystal Dynamics. Fun fact I found out about recently. So Legacy of Atlas, Atlantis, the reimagining of the first game, that's being handled by Flying Wild Hog, which is the people that make Evil West, which is in Shadow Warrior, which is fucking awesome. That's really cool. Did not know that. And then I guess Crystal Dynamics is like collaborating with them on that, but then Crystal Dynamics is the one that going full hog, no pun intended, on Catalyst, which is the proper full brand new sequel game. So I'm excited about Tomb Raider. I'll play both these games. I like Tomb Raider. The new Tomb Raider games I'm a big fan of, and I'm excited to see. So I guess the way they did a whole new timeline they released. So the way it works is the Legacy of Atlantis, which is a reimagining of the first game, is canonically the game that takes place after the new trilogy. So the trilogy that began in 2013, the very Uncharted inspired version of Tomb Raider that had 2013, 2015, 2018. It was Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Those games in chronological order are Tomb Raiders 1, 2, and 3. Then the original Tomb Raider that came out in the 90s, which is the one they're remaking here with Legacy of Atlantis, that is the first Tomb Raider game after that Origin trilogy. And then all the Tomb Raiders that came out, you know, up until then are, you know, chronologically the sequels. So Tomb Raider 3, Tomb Raider 4, the ones on the PlayStation 2, etc., etc. And then this new game that comes out in 2027, Tomb Raider, not Legacy, but Catalyst, this is the most recent Tomb Raider. This is the first Tomb Raider sequel since, I guess, whatever that, what was the game before Tomb Raider 2013 called? I don't know, Tomb Raider fucking Exodus, Shadows, Revelations, I don't fucking know. I just thought that was cool that they're kind of like taking all the eras of Tomb Raider and tying them all together. And I'm excited to play these games. They look good. And then the last thing you said was you also missed the biggest announcement of the show and the thank you DLC for Expedition 33. It looks like some kind of Wonderland, which I'm here for. No, I didn't miss that. I actually don't know how big or small that DLC is. I just completely ignored it because I just didn't care. As I mentioned last week, I was falling asleep towards the end of the Game Awards. I definitely took a couple naps. Like, I wasn't being facetious. I just fell asleep during the Game Awards. And then when I woke up, I had to like reverse myself on all the things I'd missed. And there's certain things I was just like, fuck it, I don't care. My fucking sleep-deprived brain doesn't care about this. And I'm sorry, that was just one of them, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think I did a particularly good recap of the Game Awards, if I'm being honest with you guys. But I did do a recap, you know? So that's available now if you want to listen to it and you haven't already. Guys, nobody asked me why I'm recording early. Shut up, dude. I'm recording early because I'm traveling out of town. So the podcast is being recorded on a Monday, and then the show will go live on Thursday, as it always does. It's just important to note, so as we start to round out the last few episodes of Xbox On for the year, usually there are usually like 2 more episodes in December, but this year the podcast will go live in 2026 for the first time on New Year's Day. Oh my God. I'll be recording this shit on New Year's Eve. Holy crap. Anyway, I just want to give you a quick little timeline update for those who don't remember from last week or didn't listen. This week is not going to be a conventional news week. There's like 2 news stories to touch on real quick. The news kind of dies out, you know, for the rest of the year around this time. So this week we're talking about going over the biggest stories and games of Xbox this year in 2025 and kind of just doing a year in review for Xbox. The next week will be our favorite games we played in 2025 episode, which is always the most fun one we do in my opinion. And then the next week, which just so happens to be New Year's Day, January 1st, that will be a look forward at what we can expect from Xbox in the year 2026. So a little bit of a retrospective / reprimanding of Xbox because they had such a rough year, it seems. And then a celebration of our favorite games we played, and then a hopeful look forward into the future. Should be a lot of fun. These episodes are always a great time every year. So I look forward to them, and thank you to all of you who've already written in with your top 5 favorite games played. For those who haven't yet, let me just remind you, go to youtube.com, click on the latest episode of Xbox On, and drop a comment with your top 5 favorite games you played in 2025. Doesn't have to be a game that came out this year. Doesn't even have to be an Xbox game. It's just meant to celebrate our favorite video game memories of the year. So your answers can be you played Contra. Your answer could be you played fucking Laser Suit Larry. It can be Jak and Daxter for the PlayStation 2. I don't care what it is. It can be a game that came out this year on Xbox, like Outer Worlds 2. The idea is just to celebrate, this shared love we all have of video games, and to look back on the year and kind of put a fond cap on it all. So that'll be a lot of fun. Again, thanks to all of you who've already written in. Looking forward to doing that episode next week. But for now, let's start out this week with 2 quick little news stories before we get into this main segment here. So we got one about Marathon and one about Ubisoft. So Bungie's upcoming Marathon, these are from VGC. It finally has a release date, kinda. So months after the last minute delay, remember this game was supposed to come out in September, but then got delayed. PlayStation and Bungie have officially announced, hey, this extraction shooter Marathon is coming out in March of 2026, so in about 3 months' time. But they did not put a specific date, just the month of March. And yes, it'll be out on Xbox and PlayStation and PC for $40, as was previously announced, although in certain regions the price could be slightly different, they note. Additionally, they say that the game will feature no pay-to-win in mechanics, and players will have access to all gameplay updates, maps, runners, shells, events, etc., with additional reward pass that won't expire. So battle passes don't expire. So that's really good stuff. So there's an update on Marathon. Everyone kind of suspected it would be out around March because they did say early 2026. So this is no big surprise, but hey, now we got a month lockdown. We just wait for a date, like a specific date within that month, and Marathon it's happening. It's coming. I'm glad they delayed this game, but I got to be honest with you guys, I'm still, even after all the hype and everything surrounding Arc Raiders and everything, I'm still not hyped about Marathon. Maybe a little more than I was before, but I can't imagine a Bungie game that I would just skip, that I would just omit playing. But I got to be honest with you guys, Marathon is just not doing it for me at all. So very curious about how this game is going to play out. I'll just say that. And we got one more little news story here about Ubisoft, which is that they have acquired the team behind the upcoming MOBA at Amazon Games Montreal. So the funny thing here is that original creative director of Rainbow Six Siege will be returning to Ubisoft after he left 6 years ago because he works for this Amazon Games Montreal team. So no terms of the deal have been disclosed yet, but the move will see Ubisoft obtain the rights for the upcoming MOBA game that called March of Giants, which will begin closed alpha testing on PC earlier in the year, and its entire development team will join the company. As part of the agreement, Amazon will provide Ubisoft with marketing support for March of Giants on Twitch. March of Giants creative director Xavier Marquise, who led development of Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, the game's productive leader Alexandra Parizel, and another former Ubisoft leader have served as MD of its Toronto studio. In a statement to Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot welcomed Marquise and Parizel back to the company and said that their return would bring proven expertise in building globally successful competitive and live games to Ubisoft. Sure, congrats to the people that got away from Ubisoft and that got pulled back in. I think as an Xbox fan, I'm very familiar with seeing that happen. I don't know, man. I don't give a shit about MOBAs. I don't give a shit about this game. I don't give a shit about any of this. It's kind of wild to see a studio acquisition and not a studio closure and mass layoffs. So that's cool. If we're trying to find a positive spin, it's just that, dude, let's do a mini rant. We'll keep it under 45 seconds. Here's the thing is, Microsoft, people had every right to think that Microsoft trying to get into gaming with the Xbox back in the day was just some like out of touch corporate tech company, whatever, trying to muscle their way into an industry because they heard there was money to be made and it was cool and it would be good for their brand. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, if a company like Microsoft tried to do that, that's really what it would have been. But it's just, Xbox was born under the right circumstances at the right time, formed by the right people. And that's the only reason why we have Xbox, and it is what it is. So I'm self-aware that I'm aware enough to know that Xbox is barely the exception to the rule. But it is really annoying watching all these companies that have no fucking business being in video games get involved in video games because they're just so flippant and stupid about it. Like this Amazon shit, like between game development and publishing and Luna, cloud streaming, all this stuff, and the acquisition of Twitch and everything, they are just always one toe in, one toe out of the water with everything gaming. And it's so frustrating watching them be flippant with this thing that they clearly have no real concept of what they're doing. They clearly have no passion to be here, and that's why they make these rash and hasty decisions, is because they just don't care. It's a different attitude every day where, it's like, oh, Luna cloud streaming, we do gaming. And then they make that MMORPG, and then they shut down a studio, and then they form this studio, and then they sell that one. And then they buy fucking Crystal Dynamics and Tomb Raider from Embracer Group or whatever. And then they just say, fuck you. And it's like, so I just don't understand what Amazon is doing here. It feels like Amazon has been in a stage of starting up game publishing and development for a decade, and they done pretty much fucking nothing. I know there was that one MMO that was pretty popular, and like that's it. It's just like what are we doing here? We're just taking the same groups of people and the same teams under different names, and we're just shuffling around people's livelihoods and their families and millions of dollars, and we're just shuffling in this big cyclical bullshit storm of corporate greed, arrogance, and impatience, like entire impatience. We're just like, why'd you form a team if you could just sell a team? The team didn't do anything. The game's in alpha. What are you even doing here, man? You got the money to stay in this. Why are you getting cold feet now? Why are we selling already? What's going on here, Amazon? Because Amazon clearly has no fucking gumption. They don't believe at all in what they're doing. They're just trying to be a place where they feel like they have to be in order to diversify their stupid fucking overreach of a portfolio that they have. And it's just weird. It's just gross. But anyway, that we'll end it there. That's we see Xbox going downhill right now because we're seeing those kinds of people that typically run companies like Microsoft are taking over the Xbox brand after a conspicuous 20 years where more or less, not always, but more or less, more often than not, the Xbox people were allowed to just kind of do their thing and run the business like it wasn't owned by Microsoft. But unfortunately, those days have come to an end. Hot chocolate. So hot when it's hot. All right. Well, I mean, that's it. That's it for news. There's really nothing that happens this time of year. Don't know what else to say about anything else, but I'm really excited to get into our main topic of discussion today. So let's just transition effect. All right. And we're back. Guys, what we're talking about today is Xbox in 2025. So I won't lie, I got real lazy last night, and I was like, you know what I never fuck around with in terms of like trying to make my workflow easier? AI. So I went to Microsoft Copilot and I said, hey, Copilot, I want to talk about all the ways in which Microsoft fucked up with Xbox this year, and I want Microsoft's AI companion to be the one to tell me all about it. And so I gave Microsoft Copilot all these parameters. I said, give me a chronological list of all the biggest Xbox news stories throughout the year 2025, sprinkle in any hardware announcements and releases, game announcements and releases, financial reportings, all the rest. And I thought they'd put together, I thought the Copilot put together a pretty good list at first, and then I realized it kind of sucked once I was like reading through it, and then it started lying to me. Like, I kept lying to me. It kept saying Grand Theft Auto 6 came out this year. I'm like, no, it didn't. I was like, Copilot, you're lying to me. And Copilot was like, oh my God, you're right. I lied to you. Grand Theft Auto 6 did not come out this year. I'm like, great. Can you fix the mistakes and give me a new list? And Copilot goes, okay, let me fix that. And then Copilot goes, Grand Theft Auto 6 came out this year. I'm like, there you go again, Copilot. You're a fucking lying horn. I can't trust you for shit. So then I went over to Copilot's arch enemy, Google Gemini, and I said, Google, can you do a better job? Because Copilot can't figure this shit out. And Gemini said, I got you, bitch. And then Google Gemini put together a similar list, a little bit of a better list, better formatted, a little more, includes more information, but still not that great of a list. I ended up having to make like a couple different lists and then mashing them together. And by the time I was done making all these lists, I was like, why didn't I just do what I would have done in the pre-AI era and just Google all the fucking biggest news stories of Xbox in 2025 and click on all the links and make my own goddamn list? Because now I have this list that I only trust like 80% of the accuracy on it, and it was made through 2 different AI language models across like an amalgamation of like 4 or 5 different lists. I don't feel like AI is making my life easier. I feel like it's just giving me a new way to get frustrated. So Google Gemini, you're better than Copilot in this use case. Copilot, you suck. The only nice thing about Copilot was it was willing to take all my information, put it together, and put it into an Excel document, which I thought was cool. Anyway, I don't know why I'm telling you guys all this. I just thought it'd be funny to rant about it. But we'll kind of go through it in chunks. First, let's talk about the Xbox timeline of major news in 2025, right? And then we'll talk about more or less the games that were canceled and the studios that were closed throughout the year. And then we'll talk about notable game releases of the year, just to try and end on more of a high note, and then wrap up with a little bit of a little nut tap, which is Xbox games that came over to PlayStation this year. So that's kind of the 3 or 4 lists I got this thing broken down into. So without further ado, let's start it off. So we're in the month of January. It's early January 2025. We all have big aspirations for this year. We think that this is going to be the year that we get our screenplay done and we lose 20 pounds. And well, what happens? We're just eagerly awaiting the Xbox Developer Direct that will take place on January 23rd. But instead, Microsoft begins its first major layoffs, which include cuts across multiple sectors like Xbox and Microsoft. So big old layoffs to kick off the year. And that is, I feel like this was the sign that this was going to be a rough year, because these layoffs happened right before the Xbox Game Developer Direct, which was an awesome showcase we got in January, where we got deep dives on Avowed, Doom the Dark Ages, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black was surprisingly revealed and announced, and then Ninja Gaiden 4 was revealed and announced, and we saw South of Midnight, we saw all this good shit, right? Or no, was it Expedition 33, I think was the one that was shown there, right? And so, but it was absolute devastating dog shit news, followed by something really cool. And then that would kind of go on to set the tone and the precedent for how the rest of the year would look. Because if you'll follow along with me as we do this, you'll see that without the bullshit, Xbox actually kind of had a fucking awesome year. But the only reason the year wasn't as great as it could have been is because Xbox was around every corner to fuck everything up for Xbox so that Xbox wouldn't have a good year. It was quite devastating when you see it from that angle. So let's continue on. A week after the Developer Direct on January 29th, Microsoft reports strong overall revenue, but gaming revenue has decreased 7% year over year, primarily driven by a 29% decline in Xbox console hardware sales. Okay. So, all right, but they have growth in Game Pass, so there you go. All right, so now we move into March. February is a little quiet. We move into March. Now, on the 20th of March, Xbox launches a new tier of Game Pass Ultimate, or for Game Pass Ultimate subscribers, allowing them to purchase. I'm talking over myself. Xbox launches a new it's like a new feature for Game Pass. That's what I mean to say. And it allows people to purchase and stream their own games outside of Game Pass's main catalog. So this is when you buy a game that has cloud streaming, you can stream that game because you own it, not because you're streaming it from your Game Pass library. So this is a really cool feature. I remember being really excited about this, the implications of what all it meant for the Xbox library at large, and not just having to rely on Game Pass titles to be able to use more streaming services and get more value out of that feature. And then that kind of became a bigger and bigger feature as the year went on. Also, along with that update in March, we also got the news that Microsoft was expanding their Play Anywhere initiative, which is another great thing. So this was allowing more and more for people to be able to purchase games on Xbox that were also available on PC and vice versa, with cross support, cross save initiatives and all that. And then they said that the initiative now supports 1,000 titles. So, and this has been another really exciting thing where you can buy a game on Xbox, play it on your PC, play it on your Xbox, and it's a decent amount of games, and they're getting more and more third-party support with this, which is just awesome. And you can see how both of these features are very much geared towards kind of some of the main functions and features of what future Xbox hardware is intended to take advantage of. So you can see how these are kind of like things that are built in service of future Xbox hardware. But for now, I'm just really excited because these are good features. So again, some good news, right? Then in May, remember, we're kind of talking about just news right now, no games or anything, right? Then in May, the company goes, okay, we're past the worst of, the layoffs happened in January. It was rough. We're past the worst of it. We got some games coming, a couple things have happened already. We're good. We're, Expedition 33, Avowed and Oblivion Remaster and all this stuff. But then in May, boom, a second round of layoffs, 3% of the workforce, roughly 6,000 jobs, heavily targeting management across all the corporation. So more layoffs at Microsoft. Okay. Then we get into June, and it's like, okay, well, June's always a great time of year for Xbox because that's the Xbox Summer Showcase. So the Xbox Summer Showcase happens on June 8th. We get tons of new game announcements and all these things. And during the event, they reveal the now long rumored and much leaked Xbox ROG Ally X. They name it. They say, hey, Xbox is getting in bed with Asus. We're basically taking Asus gaming tablet devices and we're slapping Xbox logos on them. And this will be the perfect, the perfect device for our play anywhere games and everything like that. So it'll be your handheld PC that's basically an Xbox, more or less. Just kidding, not really, but maybe if you squint your eyes and pretend. And so they announced that, so that was a huge deal. And this showcase ended up being a good one, but just not as good as some recent ones. It was like a little lacking. I think people are mostly bummed because at the end of the event, they kind of teased some Fallout, didn't really give any Fallout. And at the end of the event, their big one more moment game was Black Ops 7, which is like, we get Call of Duty every year. Don't end on Call of Duty. That's a given. That's not a surprise, All right, so we got the good, we got the bad, we got the good, we got the bad. We're on a high right now, right? We got an Xbox handheld coming out. It's not the Xbox handheld 99% of us want, but it is an Xbox handheld technically. So we're trying to find ways to be excited about it. The game showcase happened. It wasn't the best one, but there are plenty of games to be very much excited for. So we're in July. And now what happens, but Microsoft implements a significant restructuring of its gaming division, and about 9,000 people are laid off across Microsoft, severely impacting Xbox teams, which leads to studio closures and game layoffs, or game cancellations. So we will talk about that in a little bit. And so, again, everything's just completely fucked, right? Oh, also, we passed over one super important thing about 2 months ago in May. I'm sorry, I somehow forgot to paste this in the right place, which is that in May, Microsoft implemented its first of two price hikes for the year globally, with the U.S. seeing $100 price increases for Xbox Series X base models, citing market conditions and raising development costs for the reason behind doing so. And then, the good news, so in May, they raised the prices, and then in late summer, we get some good news, which is that Xbox has launched new diskless high storage variants of the Xbox Series X that were leaked back in 2024. We get a 1 terabyte all-digital white robot version, the Series X 2 terabyte disk drive Galaxy Black Special Edition, and, whatever. We get some new console SKUs. So, cool, I guess, right? But to cap off the summer, before we get into the fall, we get another earnings report, and Microsoft reports its highest annual revenue to date for its gaming segment of $23.45 billion, a 9% increase year over year, driven by 16% growth of Xbox content and services, despite a 25% decline in Xbox hardware sales. And this is because during this time of year, Xbox has put 1 million games of theirs on PlayStation, like Forza. So we'll get back to that in a second. Let's continue on with the news, though. In September 19th, Xbox then raises their prices again. They said it was fun doing that in May. Let's do it again. And so the Series S and X go up even higher in price, and they cite macroeconomic environment factors. This second price hike in like 6 months takes a huge PR hit. They take a huge PR hit for this one, and we're back on shitty street. Then we get to October, and Xbox Game Pass says, well, hang on there, console price hikes, hold my beer. And on October 1st, Xbox renames and reorganizes the Game Pass tiers to Game Pass Core, Game Pass Essential, Game Pass Premium, and Game Pass Ultimate. And they raise prices. Game Pass Ultimate is now $30 a month. The internet absolutely loses its fucking collective brain, and people start unsubscribing to Game Pass left and right. We don't really know how much this actually affected them at this point now. I would love to know what their subscriber numbers are. But yes, they did hemorrhage a lot of subscribers to do these price hikes on Game Pass, and I was chief among them as I dropped my subscription down to the basic Game Pass Core or Game Pass Essential, just so I could have online access and cloud streaming, because the rest I just no longer need. So this was a huge, it's so hard between the layoffs, the games cancellations, the studio closures, the Xbox console price hikes, and the Game Pass price hikes. It's so hard to say which one was the worst one, but I think this might be the one they took the most heat for, which is weird because there's so many bad stories this year for Xbox. But if I remember correctly, just anecdotally at least, this one feels like the one where they took the most heat for it. If let me know if you think otherwise, but I feel like that's pretty right to say that. All right. Also in that same month that Xbox is raising prices on everything, Microsoft's proxy statement revealed that CEO Satya Nadella's compensation package, this isn't Xbox related, I just want to throw this in here because AI gave it to me. I was like, ooh, that's a good one. Satya Nadella's compensation package reached $96.5 million for the year, largely due to stock awards following the company's strong fiscal year, which drew criticism in the wake of the significant layoffs throughout the year. So that's awesome. Xbox is falling apart. You're putting all your games on PlayStation. The console's selling like dog shit. You're raising the prices of Game Pass. Everyone's pissed. You canceled a bunch of games. You laid off tons of people. You closed studios. You're ruining the Xbox brand as we know it. But why don't you go ahead and give yourself a $96 million salary for the year, you absolute piece of shit. It's not a salary. It's due to stock options. You understand how this works. Shut the fuck up. Money's money. Fuck you, Satya Nadella. You suck ass. Put down your Xbox 360 controller that you're using to drone strike little children in the Middle East because you're in bed with the U.S. military. You suck donkey dick. All right. Then late October, after Satya Nadella reveals he's making more money than your mommy and your daddy rolled into one, Phil Spencer confirms that they are working on a next-generation Xbox console, emphasizing that it will be a premium, high-end, curated experience, and that it's a first-party device, which its future is being informed by the ROG Ally Xbox's cross-device integration. So we all know, basically, at this point, that we're getting that Xbox PC thing that's going to run Steam. It's just a matter of when they reveal it and show it to us. But that is a rough... and then December, the Game Awards and all that, Microsoft announces that they're going to do another Developer Direct in January 2026, whatever. But that is going to do it for a brief overview of Xbox in 2025 in terms of major news stories. So we got the major news stories. Let's talk about game cancellations and closures. This year, we got the Initiative, the quadruple A Xbox team working on Perfect Dark. They were shut down and the game Perfect Dark was canceled. That was the one that hurt me and I think most of us the most. That absolutely sucks. Everwild was canceled by Rare and the head of the project left the studio. So that was another one that sucked because now Rare is just kind of on Sea of Thieves support duty, I guess. Fuck us. And then an unannounced ZeniMax Online MMORPG was canceled, and the Forza Motorsport series was put on a hiatus, likely canceled as well after Turn 10 just failed to do really well with that new Forza Motorsport a few years ago, a year or two ago. And so now they're basically the Forza Horizon support team. Well, Playground works on Fable, so this is just awesome. Then also, another unannounced IP project was canceled, which was a new shooter IP from Romero Games, led by John and Brenda Romero. It was being funded by Microsoft, but they pulled funding and canceled the project. So that was also not shelled, but had the rug pulled from underneath it. And then honestly, this one I'm just adding in here. I would not be surprised if we find out State of Decay 3 is canceled as well. I feel like that's a possible 2026 gem we're just waiting to hear because Xbox's situation doesn't seem to be ever improving at all. But I would not be surprised to find out that State of Decay 3 is canceled. Here's hoping that I am wrong because that game is just MIA. Okay, so that happened. And then studio-wide layoffs. Rare was hit with major layoffs following Everwild's cancellation. Key leadership Greg Mails, a 35-year-old Rare veteran, announced his departure. Turn 10 lost roughly 50% of its staff, severely compromising its capacity to develop new entries in the Forza series. Blizzard King Mobile got huge layoffs and were downsized as Warcraft Rumble received no further new content updates. And then Raven Software and other COD studios even received some nice little layoffs there. So that's Sledgehammer, Raven, and some other teams were also affected, leading to speculation on and impacts on future titles and support teams for Call of Duty. So that's awesome. And then we got like negative on negative compounding now. And let's try actually let me change up how I wrote this down because I genuinely want to end on a positive note because I actually think this could have been such a great fucking year for Xbox had they just not fucked it all up for themselves. So here we go. Before we get to the game releases for Xbox of the year, I want to talk about Xbox games that came to PlayStation in 2025 because this will allow us to end on a good note. So Gears of War Reloaded came to Xbox. So for the first time ever, Gears of War, made its way to PlayStation. So yeah, Gears of War is now a PlayStation game. That's crazy. Doom: The Dark Ages. This one doesn't surprise anyone. Whatever, these games were already on PlayStation. It wasn't that big of a pill to swallow, but you thought they would have, whatever. So this was on PlayStation. Outer Worlds 2, of course, a sequel to a game that was already on PlayStation. Not ultra surprising, but still, it's like, why'd you buy the team if you're going to... Anyway, on PlayStation, Ninja Gaiden 4. It was a second-party game for Xbox, and it's on PlayStation, not surprising. Forza Horizon 5. Okay, so Gears and Forza came to PlayStation in 2025. Wow. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Of course, we knew that because it was a whole controversy in 2024 that they were going to release on PlayStation after the fact. Sea of Thieves. Grounded, Pentiment. I mean, these all, it was a rough year for Xbox in that basically all their biggest games, I mean, especially Sea of Thieves, Forza, Halo, Gears, Doom. I mean, all these games came to PlayStation. Now, Halo didn't come to PlayStation this year, but this year it was announced. So, I mean, it's been a rough year. All the biggest Xbox franchises were announced for their biggest competitor, on top of all that negative news we talked about. And all these games came over and then sold like crack, like reaffirming that putting Xbox games on PlayStation is the way you should go if you don't give a shit about the console anymore. But so let's take all the negativity though. The PlayStation games, PlayStation getting Xbox games, take it away. The layoffs, the studio closures, the game cancellations, all the negative news, take it away. And let's just now key it down to just the Xbox notable game releases of 2025. And let's talk about these. In January on the 23rd, you had Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. It was released in the Game Pass. It was a surprise launch. It was awesome. In February on the 18th, we had Avowed, a day one Game Pass game, highly anticipated RPG from Obsidian. And then a week later, we got Monster Hunter Wilds, which is, of course, a third-party game, but a huge game for the Xbox community. So there you go. In March, on the 18th, we get 33 Immortals, which is that day one Game Pass early access game, whatever. Not my thing, but it's notable. And then on the 20th, we get Assassin's Creed Shadows. And on the 27th, we get Atomfall, which is a day one Game Pass game. So we're being fed real well over here on Game Pass. Then in April, on the 8th, we get South of Midnight. We finally get a game from Compulsion under the banner of an Xbox Game Studios team. And it's a day one Game Pass game. And it's a really excellent game. It's unfortunate the game got almost no attention and got reviews that were not quite where I think they should have been. Honestly, I think this game has lots of issues and lots of room for improvement, but I definitely think it was underscored and underappreciated. I mean, this game is absolutely beautiful and excellent, and I really enjoyed it a lot. And then later that month, on the 24th, we get Claire Obscure Expedition 33, which absolutely lights the world on fire. And kudos to Xbox because they identified this game pretty early on, got the deal to get into Game Pass, and this was a day one Game Pass game. The game of the year, the biggest game of 2025, was a day one Game Pass game. That is notable. That's a big deal for Xbox. They really got the the Game Pass content drip under control. It's something that I think I failed to really give enough credit to this year. It's that if it weren't for all the closures and all the layoffs and all the bad news, it's that Xbox actually had a great fucking year for games. Let's continue on. We move into May. Doom the Dark Ages comes out. Of course, it's a day one Game Pass game, and the game is fucking badass. Of course, it's an Xbox game, so everyone's going to find a way to shit on it. People say it's not as good as the old Doom games. I thought Doom the Dark Ages was so fun and so badass. I loved it. And then on June 11th, we get Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. Also pretty fucking good. Of course, it's a day one Game Pass game. And then a few weeks later on the 29th, we get... let me stop recording. I'm pouring a hot chocolate all over my Surface Pro. Hang on a second. All right, crisis averted. Just had to do some cleanup. Yeah, and then on the 29th, we get Grounded 2 on Game Pass, of course, day one, game preview, whatever. But still, Grounded 2, highly successful game, or sequel to a highly successful game. Then we move on to August. Okay, in August, ROG, ROG or whatever, officially announces that both models of the ROG Xbox Ally X, whatever, will be available on October 16th. So we get a release date for this new hardware. We got the hardware on the way. We got all these games coming. Things are good. August 26th, Gears of War Reloaded. Never mind the fact that it's on PlayStation. Gears of War Reloaded. And then what happens that same day? Well... Helldivers 2 comes to Xbox. Wow, this popular PlayStation game that everyone's talking about. It comes to Xbox. Wow, we get to play. We get support for this live service PlayStation game. Who would have thought? Wow, what a great get for Xbox. Then we move into September. Hollow Knight Silksong finally releases after years and years of people hotly anticipating it. And guess what? It's a Game Pass game. It launches onto Xbox. Wow, what a great day. Then on September 4th, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle gets some major story DLC. Then on September 12th, just a week later, Borderlands 4 comes out. Another big third-party game for Xbox, right? Pre-orders go live at the end of that month for the Xbox ROG Ally X and S. You know, you get the whatever. Never mind, the prices are expensive. You get to buy them. And then October rolls around, and then on the 16th of the month, the ROG Ally and Ally X come out, and they're available. And Xbox's fucking handheld device that's not what we wanted, but it's what we got, finally comes out. And there's an Xbox handheld, and you can play your Xbox games on this Xbox handheld, even though you can play your Xbox games on other handhelds that are far cheaper. But never mind the fact, this is your Xbox handheld. It has the Xbox logo in the corner, so don't fucking argue with me, okay? Then on the 21st of October, Ninja Gaiden 4 comes out, day one Game Pass. Then on the 29th, just a week later, The Outer Worlds 2, another day one Game Pass game, Obsidian's sequel to their hit sci-fi franchise. Everyone's excited, gets good reviews. Then we move into November. Black Ops 7 comes out. Say what you fucking will. It's Call of Duty. You know it's going to sell like crack. So Call of Duty, day one Game Pass game. And then December rolls around and Red Dead Redemption gets a free update for Xbox players who own the game to that new Series X update or whatever that PlayStation and Nintendo people are paying to access. Wow, what a great year for Xbox. Every month had stuff going on. Game Pass was just brimming with everything from the hottest franchises like Call of Duty to the biggest Oscar bait award-winning games like Claire Obscure Expedition 33. It truly was a fantastic year for Xbox, right? If we just put our hands around our eyes and just kind of like box ourselves in and we look purely at the games and nothing else. You know, the most important thing, because what matters about a console more than the games, right? What a great year for Xbox. It is just so blatantly obvious that if it weren't for Xbox getting in Xbox's way, or really I should say Microsoft getting in Xbox's way throughout the entire year, Xbox would have had a pretry fucking awesome year. Honestly, a way better year than PlayStation had. I mean, you look at what PlayStation had this year, it was like Ghost of Yotei and Death Stranding 2. No disrespect to those games. Those are huge heavy hitter games, but they had those two games. And that was it. Then you look at Xbox, and it's like every fucking month there's something. Holy shit, slow down. Slow down. It's so much, man. I mean, I'm just going to rattle it off real quick. Again, just focusing on like the real Xbox stuff here. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, Avowed, Atomfall, South of Midnight, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Doom the Dark Ages, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4, Grounded 2, Gears of War Reloaded, Helldivers 2, fucking Ninja Gaiden 4, Outer Worlds 2, Black Ops 7. I mean, this is an absurd year. This is like actually, it's just not fair how good this year is. And instead of Xbox having the opportunity in the moment to finally go, fuck yeah, You know, after all of the Xbox One years, when we endured the Xbox has no games comments and everyone just shat on Xbox, finally, Phil Spencer and the team, pat yourselves on the back because all your hard work paid off. All your efforts finally achieved something great. Xbox has the games. You cannot deny that. Game Pass is a great service with a great value. You cannot deny that. It's just so great to be on Xbox and have access to great games and great value on a platform that has the best hardware, and it's powerful and it's accessible and it's got all the features and it's just great. Xbox is great. The problem is every 2 seconds you're firing everyone, you're canceling games, you're shutting down studios, you're bragging about your CEO making record profit, your company's making record profit, your people are suffering, you're raising the prices on Game Pass, you're raising the prices on consoles, you're raising the prices on consoles again, you're taking that teased handheld device that everyone was excited about and you're blue balling us with some fucking PC accessory that you're slapping an Xbox logo on. I mean, you're taking all of your fucking games that make you valuable and dumping them on your biggest competitor's platform. It's just disheartening, man. Because underneath all the self-inflicted wounds and the unnecessary bullshit that Xbox put onto themselves, Xbox had the best year they've ever had. And that is Xbox in 2025. It's infuriating. It's like actually infuriating. It's like 2025 is like if a person found the cure for cancer, solved cancer and child hunger and world peace, and they found the answer to religion and ended all wars, and they came up with all of those solutions. But then they take off the mask and they're Adolf Hitler. It's like, fuck it. You know, it's like that's Xbox this year. It's like you did it. You did all the hard stuff. Why did you have to go make more problems for yourself? I don't know. And I don't want to oversimplify. Oh, you're Xbox. You have the money to withstand all the economic uncertainty and all the bullshit and just to go through. I get it. They're a business. They have to make a return on investment. They're getting severe pressure from the CFO and the CEO and the investors to get return on investment from Xbox and from this huge Activision deal. And I understand the biggest issue that shot Xbox in the foot was, it's one, Xbox or Game Pass was just never going to work. And two, it's this Activision deal clearly brought heat on them in a way that they'd never dealt with before. And that's where we are today. And that just is what it is. But it's just so unfortunate that Xbox finally did all the things. I mean, you go back in time to 2014. People are pissed at Xbox. Phil Spencer's rising in power. Don Matrix is stepping down. They're talking about removing the Kinect from the Xbox One. People are bitching about how the Xbox One's 720p. It's not 1080p. It's like 920p. The PlayStation 4 is better. The PlayStation 4 is cheaper. The PlayStation 4 is the one Reddit told me to buy. I love the PlayStation 4. I can't get enough PlayStation 4. And then Phil Spencer comes on the scene and he's like, hey guys, we got a lot of work to do. I'm really excited about being the new head of Xbox. I have a clear vision for what I want to do with this brand. We're going to make it all about the games, you know, and within a year, the dude's like, we're going to start getting to work on some great games for the Xbox. We're going to debundle the Kinect from the Xbox One console, and we're just going to focus on gaming initiatives. And then over the next couple of years, we see backwards compatibility, the acquisition of really sensible and logical marriages between independent studios and Xbox, and we get those beautiful acquisitions that really help grow and strengthen the Xbox brand. We get, the Xbox One X and all these things that signal to gamers again and again. We are here about great consoles with great features and heavy power and with an excellent library of exclusive content for you gamers. If you took that Phil Spencer from that time period and brought him up to today and said, look, Phil, you finally did it. The Xbox Series X is the most amazing home console of all time. Xbox Live is dead and replaced with this Netflix-like service that has such indisputable value that you'd be a fucking moron not to subscribe to it. And look at the games, Phil. Look at the fucking games. Is that Black Ops 7? Yeah, Phil, you own Call of Duty now. Look what you've done. And you'd be like, wow, I'm so proud of me and the team. And be like, no, Phil, you're not. What do you mean I'm not? No, Phil. Because you canceled all these games and Satya Nadella's fucking raping babies for money, and you got fucking the guy that made the guy that made Everwild is quitting after 35 years at Rare, and everyone's sad and nobody has a job, and all your games are actually on PlayStation, so it doesn't matter that you finally got games on Xbox. And it just sucks. Everything sucks. And it's like, wow, what a fucking monkey's paw, right? Like, everything that was wrong with Xbox is no longer wrong with Xbox, and it has been traded for 5,000 other things. It's like you got COVID, and like it's like you replaced it with AIDS in order to get rid of the COVID or something. It's like that's where we are with Xbox. It's like we're gonna make sure Xbox has the games. No one will ever say Xbox doesn't have the games ever again in a Reddit thread ever. We just won't let it happen. And then what do? They get the games at all costs. What was the cost? Just absolutely tank your brand. Just fucking nuke Xbox. Great. This was a great year for Xbox as a video game publisher. That's the way to put Xbox or 2025 into perspective. It is so clear that Xbox is eventually headed into the direction of being a game publisher. Now's the part where I get really cynical, where I stop trying to toe the line of being like a hopeful Xbox fan. I just face reality. A Game Pass will never take off. It will never become what they want it to be. It will linger on for a few more years, whatever. This whole like everything's an Xbox, buy this, buy that. It's an Xbox. It's a cute little thing that will slowly just fade out into existence, into obscurity, because nobody gives a shit. Nobody wants to interact with video games that way. And within the next 3 to 5 years, Xbox is just going to be a publisher. Maybe it will be a PC client like Steam. That is the best you can hope for. But do I think Xbox will still be making hardware in 5 years? No. I really don't think so. Do I think most third-party publishers or third-party hardware manufacturers will be incentivized to make Xbox hardware like Asus and all these others? No. I think if Xbox sticks around in any true meaningful capacity, it is this Xbox PC console hybrid device that they're going to make in the next year or two that will linger on for as long as that thing can linger on for. Otherwise, Xbox will live on as some PC client that is a competitor to Steam, but much less important than Steam. And that will be it. That is Xbox. They're just going to be a games publisher that puts their games on Xbox's app, the Steam app, the PlayStation storefront, the Switch 2, and that is where this brand is headed, because they have a very bright future making games. They got so butthurt by all the kids on the internet saying Xbox has no games that they sacrificed absolutely everything to turn it around. And they did it. They succeeded. So that is the story of Xbox in 2025. I know it's bleak. I know it's pessimistic. I'm not trying to be negative for the sake of being negative. And I feel like I always have to preface or, cap it off with saying, I am still an Xbox fan. I love Xbox. It's my favorite place to play video games. I have very much intentions this holiday season of playing Xbox in my free time to unwind and enjoy my life, because I like Xbox and I look forward to playing more Black Ops 7, and I want to get the Outer Worlds. That is my January. I'm planning for that for January. This month I want to finish Tears of the Kingdom and Spider-Man 2, but then next month I want to get to Outer Worlds and Ninja Gaiden 4, and I want to play my Xbox because I love my Xbox, and I will continue to love my Xbox until Microsoft does to me what they've done with every other good thing they've created, whether it be Windows Phone or Zune or Xbox Music or Groove, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You enjoy it until they take it away from you, until they kill it, and then they let it just fucking die out a slow and painful death. And I think that's where Xbox is clearly headed. If 2024 made you wonder if that was the future of Xbox, 2025 cemented that was the reality, the inevitable future for Xbox. And so that's where we're headed. 2026, I'm not expecting it to be a better year in terms of righting the ship, turning things around, turning back the clock, and making Xbox a hardcore, big competitive console in the hardware space. But I do think 2026 has the potential to make fewer self-inflicted wounds or injuries, and hopefully win back some goodwill just by process of allowing some time to distance the brand from the horrible events of 2025. Fewer layoffs, fewer game cancellations, fewer studio closures, executives just shutting their fucking mouths and not talking because they never have anything good to say. They're either lying or they're getting us hyped up about something that's going to fall flat when someone who has the real power says no. So, I mean, like, listen, 2026 can just be the year where we actually get Fable and Gears E-Day and things like that, and then everything else is just like, shut up, don't fucking rock the boat. Then I'll say 2026 is a successful year. Let's get our Gears E-Day that's a slap in the face to Gears 6. Let's get our Fable remake that's been in development since I was -5 years old. Let's get our millionth remake of Halo 1, and let's just shut the fuck up and eat our vegetables and not complain to mom and dad, because the alternative is you get sent to your room with no dinner at all. So just eat your fucking vegetables and don't say a thing. And that is the best we can hope for at this point for Xbox in 2026. I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, you're so negative, so bleak. I'm sorry. I'm just speaking from how I feel. However, it's not all doom and gloom. I've gone through enough of these things with Microsoft over the years to know that now is not the time to be pessimistic and downtrodden and all mopey and woe is me about the situation. Now is the time to just really enjoy what's left of the normalcy, what's left of the normalcy and of this time with Xbox, where it is a console in your living room and it is a current hardware platform that is supported by games. I mean, you saw the Game Awards. Games were announced left and right for PlayStation and PC, no Xbox. That's only going to become more and more of a problem. This isn't like a one-off anomaly. This is going to become a reoccurring issue. When you put all your fucking games on PlayStation, and when your next hardware console is going to be a Steam machine, yeah, you're going to give a lot of publishers and developers a ton of incentive to not make games for your hardware. So I'm just saying, right now is the time to just enjoy Xbox in the way we've enjoyed Xbox for 20 plus years. For a little bit longer, make the most of it, get some great memories and moments out of it, because I don't think the brand as we know it is long for this world. And at this point, I really think it's probably about 3 to 5 years left at most. So I don't mean to be bleak. On the bright side, we got awesome games this year, and it looks like we got some awesome games next year, which we'll talk about in 2 weeks. We'll talk about a look ahead at what Xbox has to offer in 2026 and what we're excited about. And the good news is there's a lot to be excited about. And it's all game related. Actually, it is a little bit hardware related. I'm excited because I think 2026 is probably the year we're going to get the reveal for the next Xbox console. And I'm, as much as I love my Series X and have zero problems with it and zero real need to upgrade, I'm still curious to see what the hell is coming on next, So I know it's negative, but we will be very positive the next 2 weeks. Next week, we're going to talk about the games we loved playing this year, which is always my favorite episode to do. And then we'll talk about a very optimistic look at the future ahead for Xbox. So guys, let's wrap it up with our comments and close out the show. We could do the what I've been playing, what I've been eating, but listen, here's the honest to God truth. What I've been eating, it was the fucking hot chocolate I just spilled on my desk. I've been playing Kirby Air Riders for the Nintendo Switch 2. I don't think anyone who plays Xbox wants to hear me talk about Kirby Air Riders. I will just say Rick is awesome. I will say the music in this game is awesome. I will say this game is way more fun than I thought it would be. I would say this game has nothing to do with Xbox whatsoever, and we don't have to get into it. But that's really it for, we don't got to get into what I've been playing, what I've been eating stuff this week. I think it's time to just round us out with some closing comments for the week. Now, keep in mind, there's a bunch of comments from last week I didn't read because they are people writing in with their top 5 games. I've set those aside for next week. And for those of you who have not written in, just a reminder, write in with your favorite games you played this year, your top 5 favorite games. Could be on any platform, could be a game released in any year. Just write in with your top 5 favorite games, and we'll read them all next week's show in celebration of another awesome year of gaming and getting to be a part of this hobby and this form of escapism that we all share in common and bond over. So, all right, Cargo Runner, kick us off this week with our first comment. You say, great show, great summary of the Game Awards, just what I needed to know. So thanks for watching the Game Awards, so I didn't have to. You're right, the Lego Batman game looks like the best Lego game in years, or maybe ever. But I have a huge Lego game backlog, so I'm not going to pick it up for a long while. I heard Chris Reagan on Sacred Symbols put this the best way I've ever heard it about this Lego Batman game, where he said what he said was other other games are just Lego games with a different IP skin, like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Star Wars, whatever, right? It's a Lego game with the skin of that IP, the look of that IP. But this Lego Batman game looks like an Arkham game, like a Batman Arkham game with a Lego skin over it. And I'm like, that is the perfect way to describe this game, because I think that's why I assume you're excited. I'm excited. I know a lot of people are excited because this doesn't look like it plays like a Lego game. It looks like it's just a Batman Arkham game that looks like a Lego game. And that is super exciting because I love the Batman Arkham games. I came to them late in life, well, not late in my life, but late, past their time when they were modern, relevant games. And, I love those games very much. I'm very sad that, I just recently in the past 2 years, I've played all the Batman Arkham games, and now that I'm caught up with everyone, I'm like, great, when's the next one? And everyone's like, oh, brother, you don't understand the pain we're all going through. You're just new to this. So this is really exciting for me because it seems like it might be a taste of what I love so much about the Batman Arkham games. And I think that's why a lot of people are glomming onto this game, is because it does seem to be showing that way. I really hope it's not ultimately just some really shallow Lego game with influence from the what am I trying to say? The Arkham series. So yeah, man, I'm with I'm with you on that. It looks great, but I would highly encourage you. There's no need to play any Lego games in any particular order, man. There's no. Come on, man. It's just play the one you want to play. If Lego Batman looks really good, then go play it. But anyway. I digress. Next up, 360 Bro writes in and says, on the point of Black Ops 7, Xbox's one more thing of their summer showcase was the campaign for Black Ops 7. Especially coming off Black Ops 6, which was a fantastic single-player experience, the criticism is warranted, but I won't bat an eye to any hyperbole. Xbox earned it on this one. So, okay, that's because last week I was bitching about how it's not fair how people will flip out and call a Call of Duty game shit or good or bad or whatever based on like the campaign, when in reality, like, no one plays the fucking campaign. I still stand by that. I think that's absolute nonsense, because of course they demonstrate, every Call of Duty is always revealed or marketed by its campaign, because that's the flashy, showy thing. I mean, no one's going to be, listen, you're not going to get fucking your dad and grandpa watching Sunday football to drop their jaws on the floor by showing them sweaty multiplayer footage. You're going to show them the campaign because that's the cinematic, marketable, like sizzly steak stuff. It's like it's the fun, sexy stuff. So yeah, you always market a game by its a shooter by its campaign, and then the multiplayer comes later. I don't think the fact that they revealed this game with the campaign up front is the reason why people are pissy about it, or like why people are extra hard on the game because the campaign sucks so bad. It's again, it's at the end of the day, 99% of people who play this game are just there for the multiplayer, and if not the multiplayer, they're there for zombies, and if not zombies, they're most likely not playing this game. That's how unlikely they are to be playing the campaign. So again, I think it is absolute nonsense. Now, that being said, this is a $70 video game. They market it as a full content game with a campaign. The campaign should be good. No one should be saying, oh, this game's a 9 out of 10. You just got to ignore the campaign. It's dog shit, but the rest of the game's so good. I agree. The campaign should be up to snuff. Like, if the multiplayer is that good and the zombies are that good, then the multiplayer should be pretty good as well, or the campaign should be pretty good as well. So I have no problem with this game being greatly held down, in terms of its Metacritic score and its reception, as far as the campaign just being this big blight on an otherwise great game. But that's not how people are talking about it. People are talking about this game like the whole game is absolute dog shit, and the reason is because Raul Menendez is back as some hyper hallucination in this story mode. And that's just not how that works. The campaign is phenomenal, the campaign's absolute ass. The multiplayer in this game is phenomenal, despite what the campaign is. These things are totally separate from one another. The only commonality they share is that they're on the same disc and set in the same universe. But I mean, listen, man, I get it to some extent, but I also don't get it. I think it's a little bit like, I think people are being a little cute with this, you know, whatever. But it really, more than anything, the reason I brought that up was just to say, people completely writing off and ragging on Black Ops 7 just because of how bad the campaign is a testament to the bigger problem we have, which is that people don't want to play games and make their own decisions and inform their own opinions. They just want to adopt the opinion of what their favorite YouTuber says or what the popular Reddit thread says. And I think that's the bigger problem with Black Ops 7. It's not that people genuinely hate the game. It's that people aren't even playing the game. They're just regurgitating the thing they heard online. And that's the more frustrating thing. Otherwise, you know, whatever, have your own opinion. Just don't, I don't know, whatever. I'm so tired of having this conversation. 360 bro, I appreciate you writing in, and I look forward to further interactions. I don't mean anything by it the way I'm talking right now. Not to you, at least. I'm just, my brain hurts from all the Call of Duty discourse. Here's the thing is I'm going to keep playing Call of Duty, and I'm just gonna shut up now. Woke Dead Captain James writes in and says, yeah, the Game Awards was kind of boring. Only 3 games that really excited me. Control 2 is definitely my game of the show, though. Absolutely love Control and Remedy. I need more esoteric, weird games in my life. Yeah, there's really nothing like Control. There's nothing like Remedy. There's weird shit out there, but like Remedy is weird in like a way that is that's like literary and artistic. Like they're like scholarly weird. They're not just like weird for the sake of being weird. It's not like watching a horror movie or something like that. There's like something to their games. Like those games have like something to say. There's something to read into and to really extract from these games. I'm too fucking stupid to dig in and find out what it is. But Remedy really is like next level. They are something that is like a far higher art than, you know, and we talked about this when Alan Wake 2 came out, and I talked about it even before that in the past. It frustrates me to no end because while I respect that a lot of the voting public of the games media and industry are very much like hard boner for Sony all the time with like their Last of Us style games and Uncharted and Ghost of Tsushima, they're very cinematic style games. And I respect that and I appreciate that. What drives me nuts is Remedy, in my opinion, is still the absolute best at these kinds of games. They do the best of this, like, what if games are art kind of storytelling and cinematic quality. And they just don't get the fucking respect they deserve. Now, they get a lot of respect. Remedy games review really well and are very highly regarded by game critics and things like that, no doubt. It's just like, man, like, the way people constantly talk about, like, The Last of Us, like, it's the greatest game of all time. Like, no. That's like Alan Wake. That's like Quantum Break. Those are like the great games of all time. Like if you want to talk about how games can be absolute cinematic masterpieces or be like some higher form of art, like a true drama film or something like that, I'd point you to a Remedy game pretty fucking quick to make that point. But anyway, that's just me. I absolutely adore the studio. I love what they do so much, and I'm just always in their corner supporting them and rooting for them because I think Remedy are so fucking special. And I just imagine like how much, you know, I'm not here for market consolidation, but just thinking about wise moves, it's like, can you just imagine how much better of a move it would have been for Xbox if they left Activision the fuck alone and stayed away from Bobby Kotick's weird pedophile money? Not to say he's actually a pedophile. I'm just being weird because I'm me and I say stupid shit. But imagine if they just stayed the fuck away from Activision and didn't bring all that heat on themselves. Instead focused on more small to medium-sized acquisitions like Obsidian and things like that. Remedy would have been such a beautiful natural fit for Xbox. You have a history with them. Alan Wake was an Xbox game. Quantum Break, these were Xbox games. You have an Xbox history. Max Payne was more Xbox than it was PlayStation. You have a history together. Lock that shit down. This can be your Oscar bait studio. Phil Spencer always talked about wanting to have his kind of like, you know, quadruple A. That's what the initiative was there for. They wanted to make games like Uncharted and The Last of Us. That's what Remedy's there for, baby. You already have a relationship. You should have put a ring on that shit so long ago, but they let him go. And then Control ended up being a multi-platform game. But I'm telling you, man, if Xbox spent less time chasing the Activisions of the world and more time chasing the Remedies of the world, maybe we'd still have a fucking Xbox. That's all I'm saying. But thank you, Dead Captain James, for writing in. Cronky is going to hit us with a big one. He says, I have to echo the sentiment of a few people here. The Game Awards was pretty weak this year. Total War, 40K, and Control 2 were the only games I think I'll actually play. Kind of disappointing. I got to give a shout out, actually, just a side note, again, to that game No Law, because I thought the game looked really good when I was exhausted and talking the other day, but I have since rewatched the trailer and like that game looks really cool. That game's by Neon Biss, the people that made The Ascent, which is that cyberpunk top-down twin stick RPG shooter that came to Game Pass a few years ago that I really wanted to like, but just didn't really get around to playing enough of for some reason. But this game, I mean, that it's like a semi-open world first-person shooter cyberpunk game. It looks like if The Ascent was first-person, and I that game looks so cool, man. I gotta give that game credit. I know it's a few years away probably, but No Law, that's a pretty good reveal from that showcase. Anyway. Cronky continues on. Okay, so I want to talk about the Xbox Game Pass ad that they showed at the Game Awards. I will try to keep it as brief as I can. You keep messaging me about this and I keep ignoring it, but you say, too long, didn't read. A new Minecraft and Fallout game are absolutely in development, and something is going on between Xbox and Control 2/Remedy. So I'll skip over the obvious part. The ad was all about the Game Pass, the Outer Worlds 2, Black Ops 7, as well as Game Pass benefits, breezing past the obvious Gears and Halo returning in 2026. The three things I want to mention are Minecraft, Fallout, and Remedy. So let's start with Minecraft. Shown randomly was a door with Minecraft on it. The green light was on right next to the name Minecraft, which is a pretty clear indication as the only one other random green light in the ad. Fallout, again, a green light was on next to the name Fallout, except for was one of the details. Fallout was on the same door as Grounded 2, giving a whole ad a little intricate detail. This can't be a coincidence. Obsidian is making a new Fallout or is a new Vegas remaster. Something between Fallout and Obsidian has a green light. Combined with Fallout series Tim Kaine returning to Obsidian, my money is on a new game. But he said that was not what you think. Yeah, that just means it's not a modern Fallout game. My money is on a CRPG. I mean, what has the Pillars of Eternity team been working on lately? Finally, let's talk about Remedy. The whole ad was oldest house, and the main character of the ad was dressed exactly like Ati with his Walkman and mop. Why would an Xbox ad be entirely centered around Control when they don't own Remedy and Control 2 is not currently announced for Game Pass? Since they didn't use this obvious opportunity to announce Control 2 coming to Game Pass, my money is on another acquisition. This is the part I really want your thoughts on. Jesse, you can skip this part, but if anyone was wondering about Elder Scrolls, that Elder Scrolls part of the ad, that reference was to Oblivion Remaster, not to Elder Scrolls 6, since the flags of the castles were fuck off. The city where you first encountered the Oblivion Gate. Okay. Cronky, what do Minecraft and Fallout have in common? That they would have a green light on those two and nothing else. What do Fallout and Minecraft have in common? Think about it yet? All right, I'm going to break your heart. Fallout and Minecraft. Sorry, I'm typing and clicking around at the same time I'm talking. Fallout and Minecraft have the common factor that they are both multimedia projects for Xbox. Minecraft is a very successful movie, and Fallout is a very successful television show. So maybe if there's any kind of like thing where it's like, here's all these Xbox franchises, but particularly Minecraft and Fallout, why do they have this thing that no one else has? I don't know, maybe the Minecraft movie, maybe the Fallout TV show. I don't fucking know. Also, let's back up. I'm watching this ad as you talk. The guy who's mopping, his name is like Morton or something. Norton or something. He's got a name tag on. I don't fucking know. No, I don't. I get what you're saying. Like this looks like Control. Looks like Fallout. Looks like this. Listen, I refuse to make sense of any of this. I don't like ads like this. I don't like things like this where you had to play this game where you had to fucking like read between the lines and parse out all the Easter eggs and the details. I don't like this. It's like everyone trying to figure out Half-Life 3 is being announced because the what's it called? Because the fucking Steam Machine ads and stuff like that. No, we're not playing that game. But I'm watching the ad as we speak, and yes, I see that only the lights are on for Fallout and for Minecraft. Again, I don't think it's worth your energy to watch this ad and assume that anything is happening. But I do see that it is fun to do this. So I guess let's talk about. Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize he goes into Black Ops Zombies. That's pretty fucking cool. That's the set for the new Zombies game. That's actually really fucking cool. Anyway, let's talk about the Minecraft for a moment. What would they be doing in Minecraft if not a Minecraft movie too? You know, it's like Minecraft spin-off games have kind of not done super well. Dungeons did pretty good, but what's the other one? Legends didn't. Minecraft Legends didn't do good. And this setting you're talking about, by the way, it looks way more Fallout than it looks Remedy, in my opinion. But I guess it does kind of look a little both. But I think so. Minecraft, it's like, I think what's most likely happening is, hey, we're going to greenlight another movie. And Fallout, we know season 2 is coming out actually the same week this podcast is going live. So by the time you're listening to this podcast, you could already start watching season 2 of the Fallout TV show. So that's all of that right there. Otherwise, they're just showing ads for their games that have come out recently or coming soon. Like when it shows Gears of War and there's the construction little curtain covering the door and it says coming 2026 and stuff like that. I just don't want to glean too much out of this. Expedition 33, by the way, has a green light on. So what do you make of that? There's an Expedition 33 movie coming out. Is Expedition 33 coming out? Or sorry, Expedition 34 coming out. Listen, I don't want to burst your bubbles. I think it's a lot of fun to watch this and try to make something of it. There's one that says coming 2026. It says Halo, but it's Halo campaign involved. I don't care. Oh, and then there's a hallway sign that says EA Play. It says Fortnite Crew. I don't know, man. It's just showing off all the features and benefits of Game Pass. All right, I'm going to shut up here because I can't imagine this is good podcasting to listen to. Someone as they just kind of dissect a trailer and watch in real time, and they're just in total disbelief. But I don't know, man. I don't see what you're saying here. I appreciate your optimism. I don't share it. And no, I don't think Tim Kaine is working on a Fallout game. I think Obsidian is working on something else. But if they are working on a CRPG Fallout game, that is a pretty big knee-jerk response to Baldur's Gate, don't you think? That they would just jump into that? I don't know. Fuck off. Cronky, thank you for writing in. Sorry for bursting your bubble. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. Maybe you probably know stuff I don't know. I'm dumb. I have tiny brain syndrome. But I do know that Tim R is going to round out the comments this week with our last write-in. He says, Epic Games is offering Hogwarts Legacy for free this week for those who are into that. So guys, if you have the Epic Games Store, download Hogwarts Legacy for free. Thank you for the PSA, Tim R. And thank you to everyone for listening. That's going to do for this week's podcast. I don't know, man. I'm trying to think. Yeah. But the Expedition 33 light is on, Cronky. What do you say to that? Why don't you write in and follow up with us? Tell me why I'm wrong. Give me a reason to believe. I want to be excited about something. I don't want to be a jaded asshole. Right now, the only thing that brings me happiness is my Nintendo Switch 2 because I like Kirby and I like Metroid. But I want to love Xbox right now, too. So give me a reason to come back, play the Outer Worlds 2, and put some macaroni on my armpits to make it warm again. Anyway, that's going to do it for the podcast this week. Guys, remember to write in with your 5 favorite games you played this year, and we will read it on next week's episode, which I'm very much excited about. My favorite episode we do each and every year. But until then, let me know what you guys thought about the show. Let me know what you thought about Xbox in 2025. Were you more positive on it than I was? Were you more negative on it? Or you think I'm just kind of right on the money? I don't fucking know. But I like to hear your opinions and your feedback and your thoughts. So leave some comments, rate and review the show. There we go. I'm a good podcaster. And until next week, don't cross your streams, power your dreams.